Picture this. The glowing neon marquee lights up the night sky, and the smell of fresh butter fills the air. You buy a ticket, sink into a plush leather recliner, and wait for the magic of Hollywood to begin. Owning a movie theater seems like the ultimate American dream, right? A glamorous license to print money. Well, let me stop you right there. That romantic vision you have in your head is a complete lie. Because behind those velvet ropes and massive screens hides one of the most brutal business models on earth. You see, when a massive blockbuster hits the screen, you might think the theater owner is popping champagne. The reality? They are probably sweating bullets in the back office, bleeding money with every ticket sold. Wait, how is that even possible when you just paid $15 for a single seat? Here is the reality check that makes most people gasp. The theater industry is financially cursed. For the first few weeks of a blockbuster run, the profit margin on your ticket is practically zero. Sometimes it is mathematically negative. They are actually losing cash just to get you inside the building. Which brings up a very dark question. If they do not make money from your ticket, where is the cash going? Let us rip apart that $15 movie ticket and see who actually takes your hard-earned cash. It is time to bust the biggest myth in entertainment. The theater does not own the movie. They just rent it. And the landlords are giant mega studios in Los Angeles, like Disney and Universal, holding all the power. When a brand new superhero movie drops, the studios can demand up to 70% of the ticket revenue. That means for every $15 you pay, $10.50 flies straight back to California. The local theater is left fighting over crumbs, keeping just $4.50 to survive. But here is the catch. That $4 has to cover a mountain of terrifying hidden costs. Before they even unlock the front doors, theater owners are crushed by a massive financial burden called capital expenditure. Think about it. You do not just throw a white sheet on a wall and press play on a laptop. A single modern IMAX digital laser projector can cost upwards of $500,000. Now multiply that by 12 or 15 different screening rooms inside a massive commercial building. Throw in multi-million-dollar surround sound systems, custom acoustic walls, and thousands of luxury reclining seats. We are talking about $5 to $10 million borrowed from the bank before selling a single ticket. And do not forget the absolutely crushing interest rates on that massive multi-million-dollar loan from the bank. The very second those glass doors open, you are already bleeding thousands of dollars directly to Wall Street lenders. Then add the staggering monthly utility bills required to air condition a massive space the size of an airplane hangar. And let us not forget the marching army of minimum wage teenagers needed to sweep up those sticky floors. Do not even get me started on the property taxes for commercial real estate right in the city center. Add all of that up, and that $4.50 from your ticket is instantly wiped out. In fact, during opening weekend, most local theaters actually lose money on the physical act of projecting the movie. They are basically running a high-stakes charity for Hollywood billionaires just to get foot traffic inside the building. But here is where the financial math goes from bad to absolutely terrifying. Welcome to the dreaded capacity. Think about it. A movie theater is basically a massive industrial factory with a strict expiration date on its inventory. If a traditional grocery store does not sell a can of soup today, they can just sell it tomorrow. But if a luxury theater seat sits empty for a Tuesday afternoon showing, that potential revenue is gone completely forever. It completely evaporates into thin air. Yet, the monstrous overhead costs of running the massive building remain exactly the same. The digital laser projector is still burning expensive bulbs, the AC is blasting, and the staff is clocked. You are paying full price to operate a giant luxury cruise ship with only 3 lonely passengers on board. So, you might logically say, well, they will just make it all back on a packed Saturday night, right? Wrong. That is the great illusion of the theater business model. Being busy does not always equal being profitable. Because to capture that massive Saturday night crowd, you had to build an oversized building in the first place. You need 15 screens and a massive parking lot the size of a Walmart just for one weekend spike. You are carrying the heavy financial deadweight of a massive physical footprint for the entire slow work. It is exactly like buying a 10-bedroom mansion just because you host a family Thanksgiving dinner once a year. This operational nightmare slowly crushes independent theater owners and forces them into a brutal game of daily financial survival. They are forever trapped in a broken system with massive fixed costs, and totally unpredictable, highly volatile variable revenue. If a highly anticipated Hollywood blockbuster flops at the box office, the local theater absorbs the massive catastrophic damage. The wealthy studio executives just move on to their next project, while the local business owner faces immediate bankruptcy. So, if the entire system is designed to drain cash, how on earth does any movie theater actually survive? This is where we pull back the curtain on the greatest financial magic trick in modern American business history. Prepare yourself, because this is the part where conventional wisdom completely falls apart and the real truth is exposed. A movie theater is not in the business of selling movies. That massive screen is just a giant, shiny distraction. The Hollywood blockbuster is nothing more than a loss leader, a shiny bait designed to trap you inside the building. Because once you cross that ticket threshold, you are officially locked inside a highly aggressive, fast food monopoly. Welcome to the hidden gold mine of the concession stand, where the profit margins are completely and utterly illegal. Let us talk about popcorn, the undisputed cash cow that single-handedly saves the entire cinematic industry from total bankruptcy. You eagerly hand over $9 for a large bucket of popcorn. But what did that bucket actually cost the theater? Raw corn kernels are bought in bulk. Massive 50-pound industrial bags costing absolute pennies on the dollar to produce. Add a splash of artificially flavored yellow oil. And let us be honest, it is definitely not real dairy butter. The actual custom-printed cardboard bucket you are holding in your hand costs the theater more money than the popcorn itself. When you break down the unit economics, that $9 bucket cost them roughly 90 cents to make and serve. That is an insane 900% markup. It is mathematically more profitable than selling pure gold or luxury diamond. And they do not stop there. The fountain drinks are an even bigger scam designed to drain your wallet. You are paying $7 for a large soda, but it is just tap water mixed with concentrated liquid syrup. They pump your giant cup completely full of cheap frozen ice, so they can use even less of the sugary syrup. The true cost to the owner? About 25 cents. That is a profit margin that would make a Wall Street banker blush. Have you ever wondered why you suddenly crave a $10 bucket of popcorn the second you walk through those doors? Let me ask you, do you actually think that buttery smell drifting through the lobby is just a lucky coincidence? Absolutely not. It is a carefully engineered psychological weapon. Some theaters actively pump artificial scents directly into the ventilation system. You are trapped in a sealed environment for 3 hours, in the dark, watching giant advertisements for Coca-Cola on screen. You cannot bring your own food inside. It is a completely captive audience, the ultimate dream for any ruthless retailer. Just remember, that extra splash of sugar water costs them 2 pennies, but it secured your extreme customer loyalty forever. But let us pull back the camera even further, because this is where the story gets incredibly dark. Selling overpriced snacks is just a desperate survival tactic for a much bigger, much more brutal corporate game. Welcome to the ultimate real estate trap, where theater owners are basically just pawns on a giant chessboard. Think about the physical location of your favorite local cinema. It is almost always attached to a massive shop. Billionaire property developers actively use movie theaters as anchor tenants to legally manipulate their commercial real estate value. They know a giant 15-screen megaplex brings steady, reliable foot traffic to their struggling retail clothing stores. So they lock these theater owners into brutal, ironclad 20-year commercial leases with massive financial penalties. The landlord gets rich off the surrounding property values, while the theater owner works late nights selling candy. And just when you thought the financial pressure could not get any worse, Silicon Valley entered the chat. Let us talk about the giant red elephant in the room, the ruthless rise of global streaming platforms. Companies like Netflix, Amazon, and Max have completely rewritten the fundamental rules of how humans consume entertainment today. Why drive 20 miles and pay $15 to sit next to a stranger who will not stop texting? Especially when you can stay on your comfortable couch and watch a $100 million blockbuster in stunning 4K. This has created an apocalyptic scenario for the traditional theater model. The exclusive theatrical window is completely vanished. Historically, theaters had a guaranteed 90-day monopoly on every single major movie release before it hit home video. But now, the major studios are intentionally shrinking that window to 30 days or sometimes bypassing the theaters entirely. Disney and Universal are no longer just the suppliers. They have become the direct, aggressive competition for eyeballs. The local theater owner is hopelessly squeezed in a vice grip between massive Hollywood studios and ruthless commercial landlords. They have zero control over the actual product they sell, and absolutely zero control over the building they operate. It is a highly toxic business sandwich. You take all the massive financial risk, while billionaires skim the profit. So, you tell me down in the comments, if you had $10 million sitting in the bank right now, would you buy a theater? Or would you literally throw that cash into the stock market and sleep peacefully without smelling artificial butter? To truly understand the terrifying razor-thin margins of this industry, we need to run a real-world simulation. Let us look at a typical profit and loss statement for a mid-sized regional theater during a bad month. And by a bad month, I mean a totally normal operational disaster that pushes owners straight to the edge. Let us say your local independent theater brings in $100,000 in ticket sales for the month. Sounds great, right? Boom. Hand over $65,000 immediately to the Hollywood studios. You are left with 35 grand. Now deduct $20,000 for your massive commercial lease and another $10,000 for electricity and payroll. You are down to barely $5,000. But suddenly, one of your digital laser projectors breaks down on a Friday night. That emergency repair bill is $7,000. Congratulations. You just worked 100 hours a week to lose 2 grand. The only thing keeping the lights on and preventing absolute financial ruin is the concession stand. That sugary fountain soda and that overpriced bucket of artificially flavored popcorn is the entire foundation of the cinema industry. So, let us go all the way back to that beautiful romantic image we started with. Picture this. The glowing neon marquee lights up the night sky, and the smell of fresh butter fills the air. You buy a ticket, sink into a plush leather recliner, and wait for the magic of Hollywood to begin. But now you know the dark truth. You are not a moviegoer stepping into a magical palace of cinematic art. You are just a captive customer, trapped inside a billionaire's real estate scheme, buying the most expensive popcorn on earth.